All right, here we go. Podcasting time. It's catching up with Craig and Ian Fernandes. We are going to be talking about entrepreneurship. We're going to be talking about dreams. We're going to be talking about relaxation. We're going to be talking about reaching beyond your comfort zone, all here on the podcast. And this is kind of fun because, Craig, we had a great chat, I don't know, a couple months ago now.
Yeah, I think about 2 months ago, James. Yeah.
2 months ago, we were talking about securemyscholarship.com. Write that down, securemyscholarship.com, because we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And it's just a great site. In fact, I think you guys did a site, a revamp or something, because there was a whole bunch of new stuff when I was scrolling through it the last couple days. It looked a lot different.
Yeah, the website is actually being constantly updated. For those of you who don't know, Secure My Scholarship is an EdTech platform that connects you with scholarships at universities in Dubai, in the US, and the UK. And we're always chopping and changing. You know, you find a lot of EdTech companies out there that are more education than tech. We're sort of the reverse. Like, we're more tech than education. So our design team, our engineering team, our dev teams are working round the clock, always iterating, experimenting, changing stuff on the website.
Fantastic. So let's back up just for a second. Craig Fernandes, CEO of securemyscholarship.com. Ian Fernandes, COO of securemyscholarship.com. At the end of our last podcast, and I'll put the link to our previous podcast in the description so you can go and click on it. The general consensus was we have to get you both in, because this is a great story. Father-son. Father invests in Lock&Stock first, securemyscholarship.com later. And that whole story, after we turned off the recording, we were having this discussion about, well, how did this all work? How did this come about? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought, this is a whole other podcast. And lo and behold, here we are. So, Craig, why don't we start off with just a little bit of a description about what Lock&Stock was, what Secure My Scholarship is, securemyscholarship.com is. Think of it as an elevator pitch reminder of these things. So lightning speed. And where I really want this to lead, so this is a wonderful public speaking activity, where I really want it to lead is, how'd your dad get involved? When did that click in? And then we'll just keep going back and forth.
That story will take up the entire hour, I think, in and of itself.
But the thing is, it's not just how did your dad get involved in Lock&Stock, because then there's the whole story. Go back to the previous podcast about that, because that in itself is, when do you say, okay, this doesn't work, and close the door? But not only did that happen and work and evolve into securemyscholarship.com, but your dad was there for both of them and is still involved, and you're both doing things.
Yeah. I think a lot to unpack there.
So, Lock&Stock.
Elevator pitch, Lock&Stock, and Secure My Scholarship. So Lock&Stock was basically a mobile application that rewarded students for staying off their phones when they were in class. You went to class and you locked your phone and you did your homework, you did your work, you took notes, you paid attention, or whatever you're supposed to do in class. And then when you were done, you could use your rewards to get offers and discounts from our partners. We pivoted that into securemyscholarship.com. We built Lock&Stock into the largest student lifestyle platform in the country. And then we pivoted that into securemyscholarship.com, which is an EdTech platform that connects students with scholarships at universities in Dubai, in the US, in the UK, and hopefully many more destinations to come. We're the largest education platform here in Dubai. We've dispersed over almost $8 million in scholarships, and we're rocking and we're rolling. How did Dad get involved originally? You want to take this question, Dad?
Yeah, sure. So how did I get involved? I mean, I was always working, and into my job. But at that time, what happened was, when I was working, I was playing to win. Okay. And there
Playing
was
to win.
I was
Explain
playing
that.
to win. So that's where I was moving in my job career and stuff. But then there comes a shift in our lives, right? Now I began to play not to lose.
Okay.
So now when you play not to lose, what happens? Like, playing not to lose looks like, you don't want to take risk any longer. You avoid falling. You kind of avoid having any failures, and you want to be safe. Now, being safe is good. I'm not saying it's bad. Being safe is good, but you stop growing. And that's what happened to me. I stopped growing. And then I've seen everybody around me growing in their careers and stuff, and I was still stuck there.
You were just doing the same old,
Yeah,
same old,
and
same
then
old.
I
But,
was-
but you were happy. I mean, happy. We'll come back to that. But you were secure.
I was secure, but I was not growing. You see, now you want growth because if there's no challenges in life and you don't happen, you're just going to be stagnated there. And that's when I got this thing coming like, let's become an entrepreneur. Let's get. So again, I'm just going to go out to something else. It's what we call that journey of life or the hero's journey. It's you all start everything into an ordinary world. And then you get a calling. And then again, you refuse the call. And when you refuse the call, then again, something happens. There's a divine force that comes, knocks on you and says, no, you got to get there. And then when you get there, that's when you wonder, what am I supposed to do? But that's the point where you meet your mentor. And the mentor was Craig for me because he says, you know what, this is the issue that's happening right now in universities, because he was in university when I was getting through my stage in life on that. And he said, you know what, this issue that people are spending a lot of time on social media today and no one's listening to the professor. So I think we can do something to fix that thing. I said, what's that? He says, we can create an app which will have people keep their phones away and we'll reward them and we'll do that. I said, well, brilliant idea. I was just looking for something like that and here you come. And that's when meeting the mentor comes in automatically.
Sometimes when we talk about mentors, I mean, I think this is really interesting because Craig being your mentor, we often think of mentorships as the old wise
Exactly.
mentoring the young, nimble, let's say foolish, excited. This is the typical thinking. Yours is completely backwards.
Yeah, I think I spoke to Dad first about Lock&Stock in February of 2017, and I was in university. It was my final semester at university. And in fact, the idea for Lock&Stock also came around when I was in class, and my dad messaged me.
We were on Skype.
Yeah, no, WhatsApp. We were in class. It was an econ class. My dad WhatsApped me, and I responded back.
So you're doing exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, we were solving our own problem, if anything. And he was like, why are you on your phone? And I was like, yeah, it's boring, and he was like, no, you shouldn't be on your phone. And that's actually where the idea first incepted from,
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then that's when we took that and I kept this journey going. And that's when I crossed the first hurdle, which is getting our trade license. And that was an amazing.
Were you still in your job when you got?
No. So when I
So
came,
at what point did you say, okay, Craig's got a great idea with Lock&Stock. I've got a safe job with a safe salary. Everything is safe. I'm hearing about this is, by all measures, I got a good thing going, and now I'm going to turn everything upside down.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to follow my heart, and I'm going to follow what's going on in my mind. At what point did you realize I have to do this?
So one thing what I realized that if we are going to do something, might as well go full on. If you're going in, go 100%, and otherwise don't go in at all, because you can otherwise just stay and watch and not do anything. And the only way to do was to say, okay, you know what, let's call it a day, like hang the boots and let's put another pair of shoes on, another hat on, and let's see where this takes us on. Because it required 100% dedication, it required 100% commitment. You see, because when you're on the job, you have a lot of intentions. Oh, I want to do that. But intentions will not take you somewhere. Commitment is something. And commitment was something that Craig and I got to the table and said, okay, you know what, let's commit on this. But let's make ourselves a promise that we will take it across the line. And that's the moment, I think, when we had that conversation on Skype, we said, let's make a promise that we take it across the line. I said, now this is the right moment to pull the plug and let's go and shift or shake the comfort zone, because it was not going to be easy. It was tough, but let's shift the gears, shake the comfort zone, and let's take it forward.
What did your employer say when you said, I'm hanging up my boots?
Yeah, they were shocked anyway. Man, because like, are you going crazy? I mean, these things don't work, and like, what are you getting into, kind of stuff. Like, and I says, if I don't do it, I'll never know whether it works or doesn't work. So let's get in there and see, because I know that if anything happens, I can still go back somewhere. Because I've been in the market for long, I can always head back, go back, and do something back again. So that was the gut feeling that we both put in and said, let's go for it.
Was it a no-brainer when your dad and you were talking on WhatsApp and then eventually Skype? Was it a no-brainer I've got to do this?
To end up with Lock&Stock? No.
And with your dad as a partner. I mean, at this point, your dad was your key funding at this.
Yeah. No, I mean, it wasn't a no-brainer per se, but I mean, I think I just had an idea. And I went to him and I said, listen, like, I got this idea. What do you think about this? It's kind of cool. We could do this. This is an actual problem. No one's doing anything like this. And he was just like, yeah, it sounds awesome. Let's do it. So actually, I think the initial push came from him. I mean, I just had the idea. And he was like, let's do this. Okay, fine. Like, how do we get this started? How do we get rolling? And I was like, okay, fine. Like, we can actually do something, because I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of ideas. So I didn't actually expect it to go anywhere. But he was like, no, like, let's do something with this. But actually coming back to what you were talking about earlier about, the employer and this and that and just going all in. I remember a conversation that we actually had very early in the journey of Lock&Stock. And it was extremely difficult when we were starting out. I think this was like 2017, mid-2017. We launched in September, on September 24th, 2017, and we expected to launch with 100 partner brands. We ended up launching with just 12. So it was incredibly difficult. And I remember we were talking around that time, and my dad actually said, it's okay if we fail, but let's make sure we give this our 100%. And then we rolled up our sleeves and we went out there, and just every single day we plowed and we plowed and we plowed and we built, literally. And it was just the two of us at that time. And he said, it's okay if we fail. It's fine if we fail, but let's give it our 100%. Let's do whatever we can. And if it still doesn't work, it just wasn't meant to be. But let's give it our 100%. And lo and behold, here we are.
And it was like that father son, both of us. No business sense, no business ideas, okay? Because we don't come from a business family that was running, that we could fall back, say, hey guys, how do we do this? Nothing. So we were both out there with no business ideas.
So you're flying by the seat of your pants is the...
We're making it up as we go, literally.
No marketing knowledge, no
connections, no network.
No connection, no service, no socials, and no fundings. So it was like we were putting everything in that we had and said, let's take it. Let's go with this and see, what we can make. And he would sit at home, make the calls to the partners. I was on the streets. He would give me a list of names that I had to visit. And then I would hit the road from morning to evening, bang. Sometimes his list was, okay, he had to do it based on what client wanted. So sometimes I'm at Jumeirah, and then suddenly he brings me back to Bardubai. Then from Bardubai, he sends me back again to Jumeirah. So it was like...
Yeah, it had to kind of happen that way as well, because so when we launched, I was 21 years old. So I would go if I went for these meetings, and I went for a few, and they would just be like, okay, you're the intern, like, where's the decision maker? And I was like, no, like, I'm the decision maker. So he had to go for the meetings. And then I was like telesales, setting this up, whatever, calling all these companies, booking these meetings. And that's kind of how we took it.
So fast forward, Lock&Stock, you had to come to a very hard decision, because as we talked about in our previous podcast, go back and listen to it. The crunch time was, we have to start making some money at this, and you did all the work and you had but it wasn't really generating the income. And I still think the idea is fabulous, as you both thought it was fabulous. Maybe not the right time, maybe different things going on, but you had to have that discussion about, okay, we gotta stop this. How did that play out?
Yeah, I think the main issue with Lock&Stock, I think, was less so like revenue per se, but was more scalability. It just couldn't scale, right? Because the way the model worked, you locked your phone and got access to offers and discounts. That was your main USP. And we had a lot of students and offers and discounts in Dubai. But if you went outside Dubai, there just weren't that many. And so if we wanted to grow, we'd have to go to a new city, get more offers and discounts, and go to a new city. And that takes forever. So I think that was a difficult conversation for us to have. I think we poured our blood, sweat, and tears into building Lock&Stock into what it was. And I think Dad will back me up on this. Like, even to this day, we'll still meet people who'll go like, oh my God, like Lock&Stock, I love that app. You know, what happened to that? It was so different, I think. No one had ever seen an application like that before in their lives. And then lo and behold, this thing comes around, and it was incredibly, I think, just innovative, I think.
Do you think it would work better today?
It will work anyway better today as well, even tomorrow. Because today, whenever people walk into my cafe, and sometimes they're wondering, what am I doing here? But when I tell them, like, okay, this is also what I do, and they're all ears when I tell them what was Lock&Stock about. Wow, seriously? And it's like because everyone knows social media is killing you. But at the same time, it's a drug now. You can't move out from that. You're addicted to that. But people are looking for a solution at the end of the day. So I think eventually, yes, we might head back.
What I would recommend, though, like to anyone out there who like may be thinking about like restarting Lock&Stock or just a similar type of application, what I would recommend is, launch it in a larger consumer market. Go to India, go to Egypt, go somewhere else where there's more people so you can actually scale. Because here in Dubai, we hit critical mass very quickly and growth then slowed. And now we're saying, okay, how do we grow this thing? Like, but go to a country, go to India. If you get 1,000, we had 1,000 brands on the platform in Dubai, or even pan UAE, still super small. Go to India and get 1,000 brands that are pan-India. My God, you'll have millions of people on the platform. That's how you build a consumer application. So I think that's again, like, I think just coming back to what Dad was talking about, we didn't really have any business acumen or anything like that. Like, we were just flying by the seat of our pants, making it up as we go, and just figuring it out. But if we were to revisit Lock&Stock today, or just go back in time 7 years ago, that's something that I think we would have told ourselves, okay, like, this idea is great, but let's go to a larger consumer market and launch this. Because in Dubai, we had 80,000 students, and then how much bigger are you going to go? You already have, in Dubai, we had 1/3 of all students in Dubai on the platform. How much bigger are we going to go? Like, where are we going to go from here? So that's one piece of advice that I would give anybody if they're thinking about bringing Lock&Stock back or something like that.
So the big discussion, you got to stop Lock&Stock. And there was that interim period where the other great idea, Secure My Scholarship, came into play. Walk us through how you both dealt with transitioning, stepping from one entrepreneurial idea, stopping it, and realizing, hold on, in the process of looking at what was going on with Lock&Stock, the Secure My Scholarship came to you, and it was, we got another one we got to run with.
Yeah, I think Mo was right from the inception of Lock&Stock. We were going to with the winning mindset. Okay, so we knew we had to take a decision to pull the plug on this particular one because the winning mindset was always there. So we were going to overcome the obstacles that were coming our way, and then migrate or move on to this next platform that we were planning. And I think the decision that was taken, it was actually in the cafe.
Yeah, probably actually.
We bought the rest of the guys and we said, okay, we are at a cafe, and I just made everybody a cup of coffee. I said, first half coffee, And then we said, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do.
So I want to back up because we've mentioned the cafe twice now, and people are absolutely saying, hold on a second, where's the cafe come in? So sidestep, we'll just pause Lock&Stock and securemyscholarship.com. When did you decide, Ian, that, and this was when you hung up your boots from your previous career, you're moving into a very entrepreneurial sector, and you are also very much interested in wellness, and I think entrepreneurship and wellness go hand in hand. You also clearly had a dream that, a wellness space, an art space, a food space, a drink space. You opened up a cafe. When did all of that happen? Where's the timeline with Lock and Stock, end of your previous career, start of your entrepreneurship career, and the cafe? Where did they all fit in?
So when we started the Lock and Stock, I still had some time. And one day I was kind of walking down the park. I saw a couple of people doing yoga. And I said, yeah, instead of walking around like just all by yourself, there's some amazing girls doing yoga there. Why don't you go and join them? You'll have some good company as well. So that's how I joined them. And once I joined them, I kind of liked the thing that they were doing. And so I adopted that practice. I loved it. And then a couple of months later down, I went and did my teacher's training back in India. And I said, okay, let's go and become a teacher in yoga. And then I did that because I knew the wellness and what we were doing, we could merge both of them together. And that was the whole thing because we had Lock and Stock, keep yourself away from the phone. But we were also working on another aspect, which was Lock and Stock meditations, Lock and Stock yoga, Lock and Stock wellness. So there was lots coming in which we were going to add on to that. So I said, I will lead that area as well and we'll bring the wellness into it. And so that's how I got into the yoga. When I got into the yoga, there was another person who was doing yoga with me. He says, you know what, there's this place in this Dubai International Arts Center. They have this lovely thing. Why don't you come and do the yoga there and I'll do the food aspect? And so we both joined in together and said, okay, let's do a complete holistic approach where someone comes in, gets a vegan meal, then you come in, you do the physical activity and we'll have a complete and a meditation and we'll do an entire holistic. And so that's how the cafe came into place. And yeah, then ever since it's just been that way now. So
I think for us, like we use the cafe as our board meeting spot. So
So all our meetings, team meetings, every time that's happening, it's happening over there at the cafe. We just lock the door and we sit down inside there and then
everybody's got a cup of coffee
everyone's
and we discuss.
Bring the whiteboard and we just kind of scribble on them. So a lot of decisions have been taken in the cafe itself now, so
it's the right space.
It's the right space.
So the Lock and Stock to the Secure My Scholarship transition, was that a difficult one?
I think so. I think let's there's two ways to answer this question, right? So it was, I think, Lock and Stock, Secure My Scholarship, winding down Lock and Stock, prioritizing SMS was the logical choice. I think it was the rational choice. And at the end of the day, I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to make hard choices. That's what our jobs are. It was the rational choice. It was the logical choice. And I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, but I'll say it again. It is incredibly difficult to build a $100 million or $200 million startup. It is next to impossible to build two. So from a logical perspective, from a shareholder perspective, it was the right choice. But it was also incredibly difficult. I mean, it was a very emotional decision that we had to make because we put our blood, sweat, and tears into building Lock and Stock. We bootstrapped that thing into what it had become, which was almost, I think, honestly, between 2018 and 2020, it was almost akin to like a cultural phenomenon in high schools and colleges because you went to like a Harit-Watt or a Wollongong or an AUS or even some of the bigger schools, and every single student was on the platform. It was amazing. It captured the imagination so well. And we had built this basically from our apartment in Gises, bootstrapped it into what it had become. So it was emotional, I think. Just, okay, saying goodbye, winding all of that stuff down. It was like our baby, literally, that we had built. And that was tough.
So one day, one girl came down to the cafe, a student, and she was sitting and having a coffee. So I just gave her a coffee, and I always get into conversation with people. That's the way I am. And I asked her, what are you doing? She says, no, I'm doing I just finished, I just graduated. I said, which university? So she gave me her university name and stuff. So I just casually asked her, did you use Lock and Stock or Lock and Stock? She says, yeah, I use Lock and Stock a lot. I said, yeah, you're just looking at one of the co-founders. She goes, go away, no way. I said, what do you mean, no way? She's saying, no, you can't be. You're the guy making coffee. You can't be a Lock&Stock co-founder. She's saying one of the most amazing apps I've ever seen. And I'm really, really sad that they shut it down. But she didn't believe it till she left. Till I actually showed her my photograph on Lock&Stock. I said, that's me. And after that, she was like, all like, oh my God, why did you guys shut this down? It was so beautiful because me and my friends, we would just hang out, switch our phones, and then go down to Costa's, but get one coffee free. Because of you guys, we actually saved such a lot of money. Yeah, so that was amazing. And till today, I meet people, they keep asking me the same thing.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of like Lock&Stock shirts at home. So every once in a while I'll wear a Lock&Stock shirt and I'll go out and I'll be on the metro. And I remember a couple of weeks back, like 3-4 people were on the metro and they're like looking at me and I was just like, okay, like, and then one of them walks up and they say, hey, like Lock&Stock, like, you have a Lock&Stock shirt. And I say, yeah, I used to work there. And they said, we love that application. Like, why did you guys like wind that down? Why did y'all shut down Lock&Stock? And I was just like, wow. And the thing is, you meet, as Dad said, like you'll meet people like this in so many places. I was doing an interview on Dubai One a couple of months ago, and I was there. And of course, I think the interview person, the studio presenter or whatever, was in the studio. But below her, she had like an understudy or like an intern or something. Who when I was a little free, she walks up to me and she says, "Hey man, like I know you're here for Secure My Scholarship, but I just want to say like I loved Lock&Stock and I saw like you used to do Lock&Stock." And I was like, wow, like that's crazy. So I'm not gonna lie, like I truly think the application was beloved during its time, which also was one of the reasons why we wound it down, because we said, there's so much of goodwill towards Lock&Stock, and if we can't dedicate the time and the effort to actually keep this thing amazing, then let's just take it off the App Store, because I don't want anyone going like, oh man, this app super buggy. Oh, this app used to be good, now it's crap. No, that's rubbish. So if we can't actually maintain it, let's take it down, honestly.
Yeah. And I think we had one very strict protocol with our developers that we wanted zero downtime on that. And I remember what fights we used to have with the guys, because suddenly they're going for some wedding and they're not there.
Yeah.
And like, because this was an app where students had actually embraced it amazingly well. And if it was downtime, then they would like to send message, guys, I'm in class, but it's not working now. What am I supposed to do? Then we had to give them points and just
So what was the challenge the challenges that you faced, especially working as a dynamic duo, as you moved into securemyscholarship.com? Because you've now had you started Lock&Stock, you didn't have the experience, all of the things you need as an EdTech entrepreneur, you didn't have. But by the time you're done with Lock&Stock, you have all that experience.
Yeah, but forget not having like all of the entrepreneurial stuff. When we moved into Secure My Scholarship, neither of us or any of the other senior members of the team had ever worked in education before. So again, we're back to square one. We're figuring it out as we go.
This is your way. This is the Fernandes way.
Just jumping randomly into industries.
Yeah. No. Do we have experience? No. Oh, it's a no-brainer. That's where we're going then.
Well, I mean, it's not rocket science. So you can figure it out. It's okay. But I think, yeah, like I'm not going to lie, when we did Secure My Scholarship and when the pivot actually happened, it was a lot, I think, easier than with Lock&Stock, because, now we had been around for a while. The team was already in place. When we launched Lock&Stock, it was just the two of us. And then we hired, we launched in September 2017. And over the following weeks and months, we hired and we built that team. With Secure My Scholarship, the team was already in place. We had already secured some funding, some initial funding. First external investors had already come in. So all of that stuff was already there. And we had also learned a whole bunch of lessons. So when we launched Lock&Stock, I remember way back in 2017, we actually outsourced development to like a third-party company or an agency that handled our tech development. When we were doing Secure My Scholarship, we learned, that's if you want to build a startup that scales, don't do that. In-house your tech, have your tech within your team, because that's when you actually control the entire process. It's not just a project with an agency. So things like that, we learned a whole bunch of things, making, I think, just Secure My Scholarship and the launch of that so much easier than with Lock&Stock.
Mm. Mm. If looking back at it, is there anything you would do differently with what you have now in your minds and the experience you've had with Secure My Scholarship?
I wouldn't do anything differently. I think, honestly, no matter whether, I think we've built something incredible so far, but I honestly think that we have achieved less than 1% of what we can fully achieve, I think, over the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But I also think that, okay, the path to building a $100 million company, or dare I say $1 billion company, can happen in 1 year, can happen in 3 years, it can happen in 5 years. But that's, I think, your individual journey as a startup, as an individual, as a team. That's your journey, and that's the journey that you have to go on. There's no cookie cutter formula, do this, do that, do this. I honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. I think the ride over the last 7 years and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to come has made all of this incredibly worth it. And I personally wouldn't change a thing, honestly.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one day at a time. Because each day unfolds something new for us. We've learned something new, and we say, "Oh, that's something new. Let's adopt that. Let's start." So I think we just go along the way. We just kind of, again, I'm going to go back and say we just keep that winning mindset. That this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to, because as long as we have that winning mindset, we tap into that. We tap into that power. We tap into that energy, which comes alive when we go after that big, like what Craig said, that big, bold dream of getting it to the 1 billion. So we tap into that power. We tap into that energy. It's like winning, like for us now, is like gives us so much of energy that every morning we just want to jump out of the bed and get the day started.
And get it done.
And get it done. Because that's what we are right now. It's like, because that winning thing is coming in and it's giving you that energy to just kind of jump out of bed. Now, if you ask me the same thing, did I do when I was working? No, I wasn't. I wasn't. So you can see the thing that's coming in because of that mindset that, what, we're going to take this to the next level. And that's what SMS is all about here now, because we've reached somewhere, but because of the winning mindset, we want to tap into everything that we've got, and we want to take that to SMS 1.0 to 2.0. And that's where we keep moving forward and making sure that we are on that path to move forward on that.
Yeah, and just to add something over there as well, I think, one of our core principles, I think, is this thing called regret minimization, where, it's if you want to do something, do it, right? Don't wake up 10 years from now or 15 years from now, after all of this is over, and say, oh man, what if we had done that? Or, oh, maybe we should have done this. No, so for us, it's just do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But just do it. Just do it. Regret minimization. And I think through all of that organized chaos, you end up where you end up, and you build something incredible. So hence why I think, I wouldn't change a thing. Yeah.
So when he said regret, I remember one of the times, one of the investors sent me a WhatsApp saying, sorry, buddy, your entrepreneurial journey has come to an end, because we actually ran out of money.
We ran out of money. Someone said, that's it.
I said, sorry, buddy, your because he knew now we ran out of money. Sorry, you had this dream, and your entrepreneurial journey's come to an end. I said, yeah, good thing, bad thing, who knows? So he just shrugged it off. Good thing, bad thing, who knows? Because that's a nice Sufi thing I read somewhere on this good thing, bad thing, that knows. Who knows? Because suffering doesn't happen at the time of the event. Suffering happens to us, or rather we go through these issues or the regrets, whatever, after you label it as bad. And we never label things as bad. Good thing, bad thing, who knows? Let's keep moving. Let's keep forward. We find a next investor. We move forward. And there were so many times when we were in the dumps. But somehow or the other, we pulled ourselves back again. He's gone back to his mom, taken a loan from his mom, saying, can you just give us some money to just kind of clear some
And we'll pay you
things?
back.
We'll
Like,
pay
okay,
you
we have
back.
some cash flow issues. We'll
We
pay you
just-
back.
we'll
No
pay you
problem.
back, yeah.
Yeah.
So
But so many times we've been on the brink and just managed to survive. I think that's one thing that we've really learned over these last 7 years is just being able to handle pressure. Because with what we do, it's such, I think when you run a startup, when you work at a startup, run a startup, whatever, there are such extreme highs and extreme lows that you experience almost on a daily basis. And just being able to, I think, manage all of that just from a stress perspective, a mental perspective, all of that stuff, just soaking it all in and saying, okay, fine, just take a deep breath, whatever. Because now, we're just like, okay, we've been through this before, we can figure it out. But so many times in the past, we've been on the brink or this or that, or something calamitous has happened, and we've just had to figure it out. So yeah.
Often when you talk to entrepreneurs or you talk to people who have created businesses, one of the things they will say is family and business can be a real challenge. You guys have proven that wrong. I mean, it's a challenge, but you've proven it that you can work with family. I mean, imagine there must be some boundaries because you've got family and you've got business and they're coming together. I think that always becomes the challenge. How do you put that in place? How have you put that in place? How do you manage the two? Or
I think initially we did have quite a rift on this stuff, because I had my own programs and beliefs. Oh, what business got to be run in this way, this has to be done in this way. Because you worked in all that, you've seen things. So I was more on trying to impose that onto him but he had his own beliefs that this is how things need to be. So we passed through that phase. We did have our arguments on that, but then I think that went off pretty quick, where we realized, let's just go with the flow and see where it takes us. And now when we kind of meet face to face or when we are in the cafe, it's not like father or son or nothing, because I don't look at him that way now any longer. And when he's referring to me, it's not like that. It's Ian. Ian, what's your opinion on this? In all our meetings, it's never that, what's your opinion, And it's like me, okay, Craig, what are we going to do next? It's not, son, what are we going to do next? So I think we've gone that out. We've cleared those areas up. And now it's like, it's just life. It's just moving.
Yeah, I to add on to that, I think another very important thing, I think, is just clearly defined roles, I think. Because what often happens is everybody tries to do everything, and that's where a conflict, I think, starts. So clearly defined roles, okay, fine, like, what are you overseeing? What am I overseeing? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that, I think, helps sort things out. But as Dad also mentioned, keeping things formal. I think, just in a professional setting, there is no father-son. Like, it's everybody around the table is equal, and we're all here on like a level playing field to share our opinions. So that's also, I think, very, very important. There is no dad or father or son or whatever. When you're in a business meeting, everybody is equal at that table. So
you're there to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was just that mindset which we both took in, and we said, what, we're here to win. Let's leave all this out and let's just head.
Maybe that's part of the challenge for family members going into business. If they can do that, they can succeed. If you can't find the level playing field, if you can't put all that baggage aside, and look, families have baggage. If you can't put the baggage aside, it's not going to work. Know that going in.
Yeah, I think it also helps because like my dad and I, we're very, I think, just very, very, very clear personalities. I don't think like either of us are very passive aggressive, like to internalize things or anything like that. But in the example you just mentioned, if you have a family dynamic that is not very open, they can't speak to each other, they internalize everything, they keep everything inside, then that's bound to blow up one day, and then you're going to have rifts and you're going to have arguments and whatever. So I think our personalities also complement this style where we can just be extremely open with each other, whatever, it's okay, it's fine. And I think that helps, I think. Because if you don't, then so many times, you'll have a disagreement at work, then it'll spill over into the house, and then it's just complicated, and everything becomes incredibly toxic, and that's horrible.
So when we are at home, like once I come back home and we are at home, we don't talk about business any longer. We are watching a Netflix movie or watching Friends or we're watching Seinfeld or something, but we're not talking about anything about business. So that's left away. And now it's just about just watching something over there and talking about it and having...
Yeah, or talking about the game or something, whatever.
When you were talking about Lock and Stock, you were talking about all the variations that you had dreamed about. And obviously this fits in with the cafe very nicely with health and well-being. Is that something that is still very prominent in mind? Obviously with the cafe it is, but bringing it back into, in a sense, with Secure My Scholarship.
It is because now what we plan, because a lot of students right now, mental health, if you look, is on the rise. Okay. And a lot of that rise is coming again now from the recent surveys that I've seen is a lot with kids to do on the mental aspect. And that's when we're looking at the SMS wellness part of it as well, how we're going to incorporate that. Because today is people need some sort of source just to release some of that energy that they've got holding onto that. And I think once we bring in the breath work, once we bring in the meditations, once we bring in some yoga aspects that is going to come into it, it's just going to complement the whole thing for us. It's going to make it more now. We've got you into the university. Well done. That's an amazing thing. Now we want you also to have good grades as well as you go through, because you have a career that's ahead of you. But if your mind is not clear, you're just going to face roadblocks and obstacles. So let us help you clear those roadblocks and obstacles for you.
Do you think students want to listen to that?
That's a tricky question. I think.
I guess without giving away your trade secrets and how you're planning to do this, that to me becomes the big issue. I deal with students. You're obviously dealing with students, and they can be very focused on one thing, and that's getting done school. Then it's very focused on getting into my university or my college, and all of the peripheral things, which we like to think are peripheral, which aren't peripheral. And I think the health and well-being, as you said, doing the yoga, doing the stretching, doing the breathing, doing the getting yourself into that mindset, we think of that as kind of extra. You go to but that really is the primary stuff. Getting students to realize that, maybe it's getting easier because we now talk about it, but it's I just wonder, how do we do it?
It depends on how you package it and how you put it across to them. And I think you just got to start from there. I think one of the key learnings is also, it's not like selling soft drinks. If you have 100 students, maybe only 5 might be interested in it. But okay, can we make can we make an impact on those 5 kids' lives? And then you scale that up. Now you got 50, then you got 500, then you got 5,000, and then on you go. But I think it's really how you package it and put it across, I think.
Absolutely. Because this is something that's, people are going to get into it eventually. They're going to get into it because it's getting too much onto a lot of people right now. And people are now becoming aware of the mental health. And they want to talk about it because right now, if you look at a lot of media, they're saying, speak it out. Don't hold it back. So now people are seeking help. You're seeking advice. You're looking for advice, looking for help. So we coming in now probably is just the right time for that.
That sounds like a lot of, you guys have just been really fortunate. I want to say luck, but luck's the wrong word. Although I did have a wonderful interview with someone who was talking about luck and luck being time, place, things? Is it really luck or is it something else?
Yeah, I mean, luck is just where opportunity meets preparation, literally. So you make your own luck in essence, but there has to be an element of luck and just the universe doing its thing for things to work out, I think. If you build something great, luck always plays a role.
As securemyscholarship.com is progressing, do you find yourself looking at the next thing? It's like this, it's not, and unlike Lock&Stock where you decided, okay, we're going to put this on ice, that is not the case with securemyscholarship.com. But do you find yourself a little wanderlust saying, okay, what's the next? I want that thrill of, can we do it again? Can we do a third time lucky?
Yeah, so it's crazy because so I have a lot of ideas, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to do this, and I've actually had to temper this ideation side of me, because otherwise it's, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do this? Can we do that? And then what happens is then you're thinking about other things, you're doing other things, and you defocus off of the critical mission. So yes, the desire is there. I think we are entrepreneurs at heart. So the desire is there to get the ball rolling and see what you can do. But at the same time, as I said earlier, it's, I think we've only achieved, 1% of what we can achieve with Secure My Scholarship. And that's incredibly intoxicating in and of itself. It's just, okay, if we focus on this, how big can we build this bad boy? And then we take it.
Sounds incredible. Sounds incredible. This has been a lot of fun, guys. Now we got to do another podcast. We got to do part 3, because now that I know all the board meetings happen in the cafe, we've got to do a podcast in the cafe.
Absolutely.
We got to make this a trifecta. When we literally go and sit and talk wellness and what you guys have been going through, because I really think a piece in talking to you and just the energy in this room, a big piece of your success comes from being able to ground, comes from being able to cancel out the other noise and just hear your internal noise and your internal sound. And someone's going to be going, what is going on here? But I honestly believe that is a piece of your success.
I think the most important thing just in our journey in the last 7 years was self-belief and willpower. I think just those two things right there, just believing that you can do it with no experience, no background, no this, no that, believing that you can do it, and then having the willpower to just keep plowing through despite so many times being knocked down, always finding a way to get back up and keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's like that mindset again, which has a mindset which is it's that voice in the ear which tells you, I will not give up. I will not fall back. I'm here to grow. I'm here to be growing. I'm here to be exploring. I'm here to be expanding. And I think that's what we keep moving forward. Because once we have that, I'm here to be exploring, I'm here to be expanding, I'm here to be growing, now takes us to the next level in SMS. And I think the third podcast is going to be even more bigger when we do that, because I think you'll see something different that's happening up there.
No, wonderful. I want to thank you both for coming in and joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us, James.
Ian Fernandes, Craig Fernandes, SMS, securemyscholarship.com. Part 3 coming soon.